Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel, Problematical. Today we'll start with our second chapter, Polynomials, from Class 9 Maths NCERT. Now, polynomials. What are polynomials? Before answering this question, we will first revise something that we studied in 8th standard, like algebraic identities. Now, these three algebraic identities must be known to you. First, x plus y whole square is equals to x square plus 2xy plus y square. Second, x minus y whole square is equals to x square minus 2xy plus y square. Third, x square minus y square is equals to x plus y into x minus y. I'm calling these as three equations. Now in the first and the second equation, we have three terms each. First equation, x square is a term, 2xy is second term, y square is the third term. Second equation, x square is the first term, minus 2xy is the second term, and y square is the third term. Here x and y are variables. Now a variable is something, it's something whose value may or may not change throughout a question or a situation or an example. So the value of this x maybe say 1 in the beginning of your question. It may change to some other value multiple number of times, and by the end of your question, it may hold some other value, or it even may hold the same value throughout the question. A constant, on the other hand, is something which has a fixed value throughout your question. A constant is given by symbols like A, B, C, D, E, etc. Variables, on the other hand, are prominently written in symbols like X, Y, Z, P, Q, R, T, etc. Next. Now let's consider some examples. 2x, 3y square, 1 by 2 t to the power, say 30, 5 upon 7, negative of 5 upon 7, into y to the power minus 1, or 7x to the power 1 by 2, 15 upon 13, t to the power 3 upon 2. Now in these, or even a root value, say 5, root x. Now these are expressions. Why are they expressions? Because they have some particular variable. Now an expression may or may not have a constant term. It may not seem to have a constant term before it. However, we can write the equation of a term. A term is equals to a constant value, multiplied by a variable to the power exponent. Let n be the exponent. Therefore, your term will be constant into variable to the power n. Comparing this particular formula of a term with each of these values, we can have, for the first value, your constant is equals to 1. Your variable is x. Your n is 1. Here, your constant is 2. In the second term, variable is x to the power 1. We are only n holds the power of the variable. In the third problem, it is 3 into y to the power 2. Here, the value of n is 1. here the value of n is 1. Third scenario, value of n is 2. 1 by 2 is a constant, t is the variable, 30 is the power. An exponent is also called as a power. So your n value here is 30. In the next expression, you have minus 517 as the constant, y as the variable, minus 1 as the power. So n is equals to minus 1. Next, 7x to the power 1 by 2, n is equals to 1 by 2. Similarly, in the third scenario, in the second last scenario, your n will be equals to 3 by 2. And in the last scenario, your 5 root x can be written as 5 into x to the power 1 by 2. So, in the last scenario, your n is equals to 1 by 2. Now, if you observe, your exponents are holding varied values. In the first 4 scenarios, your exponent n holds whole numbers values. Whole numbers are from 0, 1, 2, 3 till infinity. In the last 4 scenarios, your n is not a whole number, your n is negative or it is a fraction. So, if your n is holding a whole number value, irrespective of the values of your constant or the values of the variable, that will be a term of a polynomial. So these are terms of polynomial, or in some situations they may also be equal to polynomials. Say you have something like 2x plus 1. So here 2x would be this expression that we are talking about, 2x. So you have two terms over here. 2x is the first term, 1 is the second term. Say you have another expression, 3x squared. There is no other term. So this is first polynomial and this is a second polynomial. Now, depending on the number of terms, their polynomials are divided into different parts. So, if your number of terms is say 1, as in this case, you have a single term, this is called as a monomial. Mono means 1. If you have 2 terms, this is called as a binomial. If you have 3 terms, then this will be called as a trinomial. Here you have 2 terms. Here you have 1 term. And here 3 terms. And so on. Anything beyond 3 is usually called a polynomial. For a polynomial, the number of terms could be any number of terms. It could have n number of terms. N can hold any natural number value. So in the first scenario, bi means 2. In the second scenario, mono means 1. In the third scenario, tri means 3. We usually express our polynomials with something like this. Now, it's pronounced as P of x. Whenever you have a bracket, it is pronounced as of. This may be something like Q of x. This may be R of x. This is just how you name a polynomial or a polynomial expression over here. Next, let's say you have these polynomials: 3x plus 1, 2x squared plus 5x plus 7, 5t to the power 4 plus x plus 1, 3x cubed plus 7x squared plus 4x plus 6, and something like 8x. Here you have two terms. So by default, this is a binomial. Now, in both the terms, in this particular first term, the power of x is 1. The second is a constant term. So the power of constant term will be 0. I'll explain to you in a while why for constant term your maximum power is 0 in a while. Let's understand this explanation first. So we know that your 3x plus 1 is a binomial. If this is a binomial, what does it mean? It means it has two terms. In the first term, the exponent or the power of your variable, the value of n is 1. In the second term, the value of n is 0. So the maximum value of n in this particular binomial is 1. Therefore, यहाँ पर n is equals to 1. This is the maximum value. If your n is equals to 1 is the maximum value, then it will be called as a linear polynomial. In the second scenario, you have three terms. So if you have three terms, it is called as a trinomial. In the first term, the power of n is 2. Second term, power of n is 1. Third term is a constant term, the power of n is 0. So the maximum value of n, maximum power of n that this trinomial can hold is 2. Maximum value of n is 2. Hence, it is called as a quadratic polynomial. In the third expression, you have three terms. So it is a trinomial. The maximum power of t is 4. Let's change this x into t to avoid any confusion. So in the first term, the power of t is 4. In the second term, the power of t is 1. Third term, power of t is 0. Maximum power of t is equals to 4. So n is equals to 4. This is called as a biquadratic. 2 times 2. Biquadratic means 2. Quad means 2. So 2 times 2. Biquadratic polynomial. (3x cubed plus 7x squared plus 4x plus 6). Here you have 4 terms. Okay, so let's call it a polynomial. Power of x in the first term is 3, second term 2, third term 1, fourth term 0. Maximum power of n is 3. So this will be called a cubic polynomial. The last term has last polynomial has a single term, so this would be called as a monomial. The power of x over here is 1, so n is equals to 1. If n is equals to 1, this would be called as a linear polynomial. Now, let's discuss why constant will hold a 0 power. Your constant value, here let's consider the first constant, which is 1, can be written as 1 multiplied by the variable in question in this particular expression is x to the power 0. Now, this is a formula. Anything to the power 0 is 1. So this is 1 into 1, which is your original value. So you're not changing the value, we're just modifying it to write it in the form 1 into x to the power 0. The power x holds is 0, hence the power of constant is 0. Now, these powers of n, which helped you to understand or to name polynomials as either linear, power 1, quadratic power 2, cubic power 3, or biquadratic power 4, these powers are called as degrees of that particular polynomial. So, the degree of linear polynomial is 1, quadratic polynomial is 2, biquadratic polynomial is 4, and cubic polynomial is 3. Degree of linear polynomial is equals to 1. Similarly, degree of a quadratic polynomial is 2. Degree of cubic polynomial is 3. Degree of biquadratic polynomial is 4. Now there's also another type of polynomial called as constant polynomial. Now instead of those expressions in variables x, if you have a single constant value, 3, it can also be called as a polynomial. Why? Because we can express 3 as 3 into x to the power 0. Obviously, for constant polynomial, your degree will be 0. So you can even include this degree. This is short form for degree, DEG, but it is not supposed to be used in theory part. Degree of constant polynomial Similarly, CONST dot is the short form for constant. Constant polynomial is 0. Instead of 3, if you write 0 digit, this can also be called as a polynomial because it can be represented as 0 into x to the power 0. Obviously, since it's a constant polynomial, the degree of this constant polynomial will be digit number 0. This is also called as a ZERO 0 polynomial. Okay. So if you want to define degree, then you can do so as degree is the highest exponent or highest power of the variable in a polynomial. That means whatever variable you have, that variable should hold certain powers in certain terms. The maximum power that it holds throughout your polynomial is the value of degree, and that degree is the degree of the complete polynomial. Now, we are covered with more or less the content for first exercise. So based on this content and just a little more, you can complete your first exercise. So let's stop here and continue the rest in the next class. Thank you.